using it to not only tear people's windpipes, but also to sew up any pesky wounds obtained in battle with the needle and thread stored in the knife handle's trusty secret compartments. How many people can throw a John Rambo reference into a New York Times? This guy. Las Vegas, at least on the Strip, is a wondrous theme park with a cast of characters that any fiction writer would masturbate over. The funny thing is that people who are well off enough to gamble and lose are called whales. People who cannot afford to gamble and lose are called addicts. So who is greedy and who is an athlete? I watch the World Series of Poker all the time, and whenever someone goes all in on a pair of tens, I just want to smack that person in the face with my dick. Greed is never a good partner when you are trying to bluff. You sweat like a sex offender, and your getaway tells like a kid with ADHD. When too much is at stake, gambling is no longer recreational. It is greed, pure and simple. Greed takes over when you are trying to break even, or at least cover your losses. Greed turns a man with a poker chip into a man with an obsession. I have been on both sides of this. On the lighter side of gambling, I was strolling through the Rio one night and found a $25 chip lying on the floor. I had imbibed a few cocktails. It was feeling lucky. So I said, fuck it, and muscled up to one of the blackjack tables for a few hands. I walked away with $800. After I tipped out the dealer and the waitress. I was ecstatic. Yeah, go ahead, please. I bought a round of drinks for some friends and managed to hold on to the rest of it long enough to buy a beat-up pawn shop acoustic guitar that I used to write the majority of my songs with to this day. To a pretty cool story. Nobody died, nobody sold their car, and nobody felt compelled to clean out the children's college funds. So well done, right? Yeah. The darker side of gambling never even occurred in a casino. It happened about 2,000 miles from Las Vegas, and there were only 3 people in the game. We were playing a game called In Between, wherein a deck of cards is dealt out 2 at a time into 2 piles. Let me preface this by saying this is the most evil fucking game on the planet. I've seen motherfuckers thrown off of buses in the middle of nowhere in Poland because they can't pay their debts. I am not encouraging anyone to play this fucking game, and you'll find out why. Wherein a deck of cards is dealt out 2 at a time into 2 piles. For every 2 cards played, the betting occurs when you have to guess whether or not the next card will fall in between the previous 2. Say the first card is a king, and the next card is a 3. If you place a bet, the next card has to be a card from the queen to the 4. Sounds simple? It isn't. If you catch a queen, 2, and the next card is outside those 2, you pay what is in the pot. If it is either a queen or a 2, you pay double. Oh. It is a game that can generate a healthy money pool very quickly, but in the process, make the players pay a heavy price if they get in over their heads. Now, the great thing about gambling among friends is your odds of winning double. But the bad thing is, your odds of losing stay the same. I would love to say I did not lose $30,000 in a round of private gambling, but I did. It sucks even to think about it, but at the same time, it taught me a few valuable things about myself. For one thing, I paid up as soon as I could. I did not have $30K on me at the time, but neither did anyone else involved in the game. It was the right thing to do, and I am an honest person, which leads me to the most important thing. Honor your debts. It is easier to cut your losses and walk away clean than to get into the cycle of using other bets to pay for debts. I do not ever want anything like that hanging over me. The second thing I learned was that you should not gamble with money you do not have. And by that, I mean do not gamble when you cannot afford it. These days, I only gamble with money I have in my pocket or whatever I get from one trip to the ATM. By the way, does it bother you when people say ATM machine?
Yes.
Unless it's an ass-to-mouth machine. One trip to the ATM. It will keep you from making greedy mistakes, and it will keep the fun in your gambling. By the way, I don't say gambling habit. A habit is something you do every day, a quirk that develops around your personality and your daily movements. A gambling habit is a gambling problem, and I will not subscribe to using euphemisms to cover the fact that some people have a problem with gambling. I am not encouraging people to gamble their money away. I am encouraging people to gamble responsibly and for fun. And that's when the greed would jump in.